This was not a random act of violence. Someone knows something.
Police and city leaders are pleading for the public's help in solving last night's shooting that claimed the lives of one man and 2 children. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. I'm Yolanda Harris.
And I'm Andrew Kinsey. Police, city, and community leaders say they are angry about innocent lives lost to senseless violence. Tonight, we have team coverage.
10 Investigates Bennett Haberly breaks down what's behind the code of silence in the streets.
But first, 10 TV's Lacey Crisp was there as police described the heartbreaking scene and what they need from you tonight. Lacey.
Yeah, it's hard for any parent to wrap their head around the fact that 2 innocent children were killed in such a violent way. But Columbus police say the 3 victims were assassinated.
Babies facing violent deaths in our city cannot be tolerated.
2 innocent children and their mother's boyfriend shot in what police describe as a targeted attack.
All the evidence that we have at the scene indicates that this is not a random act. It does appear to be a targeted assassination, and there's no other way to say it.
The shooting happened around 6:15 last night in the southeast corner of the city. Columbus police say at least 2 suspects walked up to the car where 22-year-old Charles Wade, his girlfriend's 2 children, 9-year-old Demitrius and 6-year-old Londynn sat. Sources say about 50 shots were fired into the car. Police say without any warning, all 3 were pronounced dead.
Being a homicide detective, being a police officer in general, you see a lot of bad scenes. I can tell you that this one was different.
Columbus police say they were back at the scene today, hoping surveillance cameras caught the shooting. They are hoping to make arrests before there are any retaliatory shooting or more victims.
We would absolutely love to be able to bring these people into our custody before anything happens.
In the meantime, leaders, family, and residents are trying to come to terms about how something so horrific can happen.
You would not hesitate to call had you been on that scene last night and seen those 2 kids in the state they were in.
We are in a battle for our city's soul. And I need each and every one of us to step up and do our part.
Yeah, so Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther has asked everyone to pray for the family, for the officers involved, and anyone with information needs to come forward. Reporting live, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
Lacey, thank you. A familiar refrain tonight from the city leaders who urge the public to come forward with information in this case.
A recent investigation by 10 Investigates found a street code that pushes silence and discourages cooperation with police has plagued authorities from solving many of these killings. Tonight, Chief Investigative Reporter Bennett Haberly is here with the message from city leaders. Bennett?
Yolanda, they want people to come forward with not just information about this case, but all crimes. Our recent investigation, as you mentioned, found that no snitching, street justice, and a mistrust of authorities are all plaguing police from solving many of these killings. Today, the police chief addressed that very issue in wake of this most recent tragedy. As city leaders gathered in wake of a triple shooting, their message carried a chorus we've heard before.
We know people know more, and there's more information out there that can help us get these violent monsters off the street before they kill other children.
Somebody knows who did this. This does not occur without people talking about it.
It's imperative that we speak up and make sure that we get the shooters, our violent offenders, off the street before they have an opportunity to affect another family like this.
A recent investigation by 10 Investigates found more than a dozen dead zones across Columbus, areas of the city where unsolved murders are clustered together, where a street code that pushes silence discourages people from talking with police. No snitching is a real thing that robs families of justice.
DeJuan used to tell me, Paul, snitches get stitches. He used to tell me that all the time.
What role do you think no snitching plays?
A lot. A whole lot. I believe there's a lot of people that know stuff regarding whether what happened to DeJuan or anyone else.
Out of more than 650 murders since 2017, police have made arrests in a little more than 1 out of every 2. Following Tuesday's shooting near Canal Winchester, I asked Police Chief Elaine Bryant about this issue, if city leaders were frustrated by people not coming forward. Bryant responded by saying many community members do come forward, but her words were aimed at those who know details about the crimes in our city.
The people that know what happened, we want you to speak up. People that feel like snitching is a bad thing. It's not a snitching. It's about respecting your community and having compassion for the families that are going through what they're going through and speaking up and allowing us to give them some justice. This isn't snitching. This is humanity.
He said that violence against these children can't be tolerated, but the data shows that young people have been victimized by this. Since 2017, 171 homicide victims have been under the age of 21, 26 have been under the age of 12. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Bennett. Now, we've learned that Londynn and Demitrius were students in Canal Winchester schools. The district released a statement on the loss of the students. It reads in part, quote, "We are shocked and heartbroken. Please hold the family in your thoughts during this unimaginable time," end quote.
The news of 2 children murdered hits home for a group that no one wants to be part of. Mothers of murdered children place gold locks on the Rich Street Bridge downtown to symbolize the love of their children lost to gun violence. There are 45 locks on the bridge today, and 17 others will be placed this Saturday. Melissa Thomas St. Clair's son, 22-year-old Anthony, was murdered back in 2013. She has a message for those who shot and killed the 2 kids last night.
When someone hasn't even reached their double-digit years to even have development to know about crime, it makes you feel like humanity is lost. And I ask and I implore the perpetrators to dig deep in their souls and find the humanity left in them and turn themselves in and be held accountable to give these babies rest.
Saturday's event to place those additional locks on the Rich Street Bridge begins at 2. Everyone is invited.